identity access and management. This is something that's really interesting because earlier this year we saw Okta go ahead and buy Auth0, which was private at the time, but was also probably their biggest competitor, particularly for anyone who was more looking to shift left towards like the development type of identity access tools instead of just buying a full suite. And I think it was a great move, but I want to hear your thoughts on the merger. Does it make Okta a stronger option, or did you prefer Auth0's type of approach?
Yeah, so I think it's a great move for Okta because I think that Auth0 definitely had a better platform specifically for customer identity and access management. As a customer of Auth0 and not of Okta, well, now we are a customer of Okta.
It's happened to you a couple of times, Bradley.
Yeah, as a customer of Auth0, I would say it's not as well received, mainly because they're raising their prices significantly on what Auth0 offered before. I mean, we got grandfathered in, so I guess I'm happy about that. But but I know that in future renewals, we have to brace for significantly higher prices. But as a strategy, I would say it makes perfectly sense for Okta, and I think also they've been pretty vocal about the fact that they want to kind of bring together some of these pillars in the identity and access management space, like identity governance and administration and privilege access management, and bring that all together with your traditional authentication and SSO platform. And if they can actually execute on that, I think they've got a big chance of grabbing market share from like privileged access management and identity governance players.
You just led me right where I wanted to take that conversation, Bradley. Thank you very much. Yeah. So after they announced the acquisition, very soon thereafter, they also announced that they wanted to expand their services. And it wasn't just going to be MFA and SSO, but like you said, it was going to be privileged account management and identity governance as well. And I wanted to show yet again, this is one area for ETR where all three of those players actually had a positive data set rating. And you could see it with CyberArk, you can see it with Okta, and you can see it with SailPoint as well. That doesn't usually happen when we see that. But now I think to myself, well, if they're all going to be competing with each other, I'm not so sure how long that can stay. So I would love to hear your thoughts. What we're looking at here is adoption rates. Okta has stayed extremely consistent, where Auth0 is showing a strong amount of growth year over year. But even a name like SailPoint, which has been around, let's be honest, a very long time, we're still seeing new adoptions from here. And then, again, CyberArk, again, not that far off. This all has to do with what you said in remote work and the trends. This is an area that you can't let lapse anymore. So given the backdrop, a lot of dollars flowing here, a lot of use cases that are necessary, but we're seeing some competitors really start bumping against each other now. So if you look forward, who do you think the winners and losers are? How do you think this shakes out, Bradley?
Ooh, that's a tough one. If I knew, I would be investing and making a lot of money.
Well, then let's take it from a tech perspective then, right? So we know Auth0 has the ability to do a little bit more flexibility, gives you more options. And we also know that they're both trying to get into the privileged account and the identity governance space, but do they have the connectors? Can they tie into your ITSM and into your CRM and your ERP systems? Can they actually pull it off, or are you still going to be paying CyberArk and SailPoint to do that?
Yeah, as the products exist today, I can't do it. Right? It's more of a it's more of a vision that they're selling. They have to actually offer the products yet. So I'm saying that it's a good vision, and if they can pull it off, they can probably steal market share from CyberArk and SailPoint. But right now it's vaporware. It's not a product that exists.
And what would be the hurdles for them to pull it off?
The biggest thing is the fact that these products are so entrenched in existing organizations. Like pulling out SailPoint, I mean, that's a massive project where we connect, for instance, 438 apps to our SailPoint instance. I do not look forward to, going to basically migrating to another platform and having to redo all the work it took to integrate that with all of those systems. And I think that's going to be the thing that's going to slow down that vision. Like, it'll be good for new, I guess, greenfield. So places that haven't implemented some of these solutions already, they'll be able to pick up market share based on having a consolidated offering that includes, identity and or basically SSO authentication and privileged access management and identity governance. But for large corporations that already have several products, it's going to be tough getting them to go through that pain to migrate from one to another.
I completely agree with you, and I'm just pulling this up. And again, my apologies for the slow loading speed I'm getting today. But we recently, after the Okta Auth0 announcement, we decided to do a drill down survey and get you and your peers and your thoughts about it. And what you just said really struck with me. And if you can visualize 438 applications that are already integrated with SailPoint, having to undo that and then redo it with a different architecture and all the APIs and everything that has to be written and done to it, that just sounds incredibly daunting. And it makes you really wonder that you do appreciate what Okta is trying to do, but I'm just not sure that you can pull it off.
Yeah, well, like I say, with greenfield implementations, I think they could have a lot of success, because if you would go back, let's say rewind the clock several years before we had SailPoint and before we had CyberArk, and you came to me and said, I'll give you a platform that does authentication, MFA, SSO, plus privileged access management and IGA, I'd be all over that as a vision. Like, I have one product, one throat to choke, one set of integrations I need to do. I'd be sold instantly. It's coming back now that we have all those products in, and we spent, multiple months or even years fully integrating them. It's coming back to me and saying, okay, now we want you to rip that all out for one product. That's a very different decision, right?
Yeah, a very different decision. And you can go through this in more detail if anybody is interested, or we can send you the reports. But essentially, you're really echoing a lot of what people had to say in this situation. That in a greenfield going down, sure, they're going to evaluate it. If they would like to consolidate vendors at any given chance they can. They would like to get more offerings at bundled pricing when they can. But I just does concern me when you immediately said pricing was a concern in general with Okta acquiring Auth0. So if they have pricing going the wrong way, and we're not really sure about their ability to kind of solve all of your problems, only greenfield, there does seem to be a little bit of a hindrance there to their plan.
Yeah, I would definitely say so.
Right.
And especially, I mean, today we have a number of point solutions, and none of them I would say are cheap. But if the sum of all the parts still costs more than what we pay for each of the individual elements today, it's yet another reason why we wouldn't bother with that transition.